ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. Indeed, all praise is due to Allah. We praise Him, seek His aid and ask His forgiveness. We seek refuge in Allah from the evils of ourselves and from the evils of our actions. Whomsoever Allah guides, none can misguide. And whomsoever Allah misguides, none can lead astray. I bear witness that there is none worthy of worship except for Allah alone, having no partner. And I bear witness that Muhammad is a slave and His messenger. أما بعد, to proceed, فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله. The best of talks beyond any doubt is the Quran, the book of Allah. وأحسن الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. The biggest of guidance is definitely the guidance of His messenger Muhammad, may peace and blessings be upon him. وإن شر الأمور محدثاتها. The most evil of all matters are the ones innovated. For every newly innovated matter in Islam is an innovation. فإن كل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة. And every innovation in Islam is a misguidance. وكل ضلالة في النار. And every misguidance will lead to the hellfire. Before I start the new course, which is to do with the purification, a course which is not going to last inshallah more than 5 classes or 6 classes at maximum, depending upon how much Allah wills for us to cover from this topic. And we have decided to go through our deen, which is to do with the purification, the salah, a number of courses, and I will try to make them as targeting the brothers, regardless how knowledgeable you are, whether you are on the top or the bottom. You're going to inshallah get benefit from that. And the other issue is that I would like to shed light upon just before I start, that you need to understand the Quran, not just in terms of the how to recite it, but also the meaning of it. For verily, the Imam Jazahullah Khairan had recited some beautiful verses, especially in the second rak'ah, and in which he reminded us of our destiny, the death, and how the person dies. And for verily, the heart has an impact on the heart, and the Quran has a very strong impact on the heart. And for that impact to be at its maximum, the person needs to know the meaning of the Quran, the meaning of the words. So it's very important you understand the Arabic language, inshallah. So make an effort to learn the Arabic language. The other issues were regarding this month, which is the month of al-Hijjah. For some of you, or maybe all of you, inshallah, they know that last night the moon sighting the first, or indicating the first of al-Hijjah has been sighted. And the al-Hijjah is a month which is one of these Ashhur al-Hurum, 4 sacred months, and it as well includes the days which the pilgrims are keen to know about, and they're keen as well to make their pilgrimage rituals in them. And of course it has the best of the days in the sight of Allah, that is the day of al-Eid al-Adha, and preceded by a great day also, the day of Arafah. And if the moon was sighted yesterday, it makes it that Monday is the day of Arafah, and makes it Tuesday the day of al-Eid al-Adha. I have received, no, not inshallah, it's going to be like this because it's a day, it's a fact. There's no inshallah. No. Inshallah is only if you really not doubt about it.
If you're going to be there for it.
Inshallah, no, I'm talking about it's going to be the day of Arafah. I didn't say I'm going to be staying the day of Arafah. So the day of Arafah, some people say inshallah, I'm just correcting them, there's no inshallah, and the day of Arafah is going to be Monday, and the day of the Hijjah is going to be, the day of Eid is going to be the 10th of the Hijjah. But there are some brothers have sent me some messages that some of the countries or some of the people already had made their Eid is to be Wednesday and the day of Arafah is to be Tuesday. Is that true or not?
Yes.
Sure, yeah, okay. And then they had sent me as well an email saying that the Hajj is not linked to the Eid al-Adha and each is different. Well, I tell you what, it is not true. The link here says that, for example, that we only measure our days according to what Saudi Arabia they do. It is not true. But we announce our day of the Hijjah with the first country they announced it. So it was Kenya or whatever, Africa had announced it first to be that the day of the Hijjah was not today, the first day will be yesterday, we will be with them. But it happens to be that Saudi Arabia was the first. And yes, truly, that if some country, they don't have any sort of link in terms of communication with Saudi Arabia or with the rest of the world, and they had the day of Arafah, for example, on Tuesday, which happens to be the day of Eid al-Adha, no problem about that. But we need to have united, sort of decision as Muslim and empire, having one God, and we're having one Prophet, one Qibla, one religion, one Quran, inshallah. So we should have one sighting as well. We like to have that. So we will have to have moon sighting and not moon fighting, basically. And unfortunately, that the Muslim countries sometimes they take their decision regarding the moon as political sighting. Do you understand that? Political sighting. So the head of the country, maybe he's annoyed with Saudi Arabia or another country, or just make a different Eid from them. Okay, because he likes it like this. Unfortunately, this is the case. But we say, inshallah, Allah Azza wa Jalla would unite us, number one, in our Aqidah, because Aqidah is more important than the sighting of the moon. In our Aqidah, and then unite us, inshallah, in those issues regarding the issues of sighting the moons and other issues as well. So, if it is the case, then last night, indicating the first night of al-Hijjah, there are things that we need to learn regarding the month of al-Hijjah. Number one, fasting the days of al-Hijjah. Fasting the days of al-Hijjah, the sunnah is not to fast all of the days, but to fast most of the days. So fasting, for example, a day and breaking the other day, like the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had told Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As, who had some power to fast and pray and recite, but he told him to take it easy on himself. And Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As, he did not take the concession, and he took the hard line. Later on he regretted that. And he said, I wish that I took the concession of the Prophet ﷺ. When he got older, he couldn't really do what he was able to do when he was young. That is, he used to fast day and break the following day. Yet the Prophet of Allah did not do that. He only fasted 3 days of the month, 2 Thursdays and 1 Monday. He used to recite the Quran every 3 nights. When he got old, he wasn't able to do that. The Prophet of Allah did not do that. That is reading the Quran the 3 nights. He used to make the qiyam as much as possible. Now, he was not able to do that when he got old. And thus he said, I wish I have taken the advice of the Prophet of Allah. That is to take the concession. Don't take it hard upon yourself regarding the ibadah. For verily the deen is strong. And Allah does not get bored until you get bored. Allah does not get bored of you giving him ibadah. But Allah made you in such a way that you are not able to exert a lot of sort of pressure on yourself, that yourself later on will resent and will not even listen to you. So you're telling yourself to go on, for example, make qiyam, you say to you, I'm too tired. So you'll not be able to do your normal ibadah. So make sure that you do the ibadah which is according to your capability. So fast a day, break the following day, that would be good. But make sure that you fast Monday. It happens to be Monday, and on the top of that, it is the day of Arafah. Fasting the day of Arafah, it'll have an expiation of 2 years. Preceding and a future one. So you fast the day of Arafah. For those who are pilgrims, they're not advised to fast. It is not good for them to fast because they've got lots of things to do on the day of Arafah. They are being advised to supplicate to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as much as possible. As for the takbir, there is general takbir and there is specific takbir. Now the general takbir starts from last night. So you make Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Lillahi alhamd. But the specific one starts from the dawn of Arafah, from the dawn of Monday. That specific takbir where the pilgrims and the non-pilgrims will make this takbir, Allahu Akbar, or Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah. For example, La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu al-mulku wa lahu al-hamd, yuhyi wa yumitu wa ala kulli shay'in qadir. This is what the Prophet ﷺ, he said, that the best of sayings that me and the Prophet said on the night of Arafah, La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah, lahu al-mulku wa lahu al-hamd, wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. So repeat that dua as well with the takbir and the tahleel and the tahmeed. And of course on the day of Al-Eid, the day of Eid al-Adha, you keep making the takbir. And the takbir in this Eid continues even after the Eid until the last 3rd day, which is after the day of Eid. So you've got 4 days. 5 days of takbir. The day of Arafah, the day of Eid al-Adha, and the following 3 days, they call it the days of Tashriq. Regarding the people who are making an udhiyah, they need to know that if you have an udhiyah, that means you are a person who is in charge of your family, and you are the head of the family, whether you are the man or the woman. For example, maybe it's a female who had lost her husband, she would be the head of the family. And if they are capable financially, to produce an udhiyah, it's a must upon them to make the udhiyah. Regardless how many udhiyahs they made in the past, that they have to make an udhiyah every time they are capable of making an udhiyah. And if the udhiyah becomes a compulsory upon them, then they need to do the following. That is, that the head of the family, that just the head of the family, he needs to, number one, not to cut anything from his nails or his hair anywhere. From his nails, the nails or the hands or the toes, the same thing. Or from his hair anywhere. I'm talking about anywhere, anywhere in the body. You're not allowed to take from the hair, and on top of that, not to peel off the skin. وَلَا مِن بَشَرَتِهِ. That is, the pulling of the skin, that is not allowed. I'm not doing it because I've got an hair myself. So I'm just saying, peeling out the skin is not allowed until your udhiyah is being slaughtered. Second issue is to make sure that you are prepared for making the udhiyah if it's possible in this country. And I'm saying that you yourself slaughtering the udhiyah. At least witness it with your own eyes. But just simply to go to the, to the person who is the butcher and just say to him that my name's so and so, and he writes your name, and then on the Eid al-Adha he gives you any meat from the fridge and then that's it. That's not your udhiyah, okay? So the udhiyah is basically, you have, it's good to witness it. I'm not saying it's not valid. I'm saying that this makes it this last thing, the last resort. Okay, the first thing is you make the udhiyah. Second possibility, option is that you witness it in your own eyes. And there are lots of abattoirs will give you that opportunity. In Birmingham, they're being told to do that. You have to make your homework from now until the day of Eid al-Adha. If it is not, then make sure that you give it to a butcher who is going to give you the same udhiyah that he's going to make for you. You don't need to give him your name. Okay, the udhiyah is just paying the money. So the udhiyah is not mentioning the name of the person. So it is just you have paid for it. So imagine that you paid someone, some money, and you said to him, mention my name, when you make the udhiyah, and he said, in the name of himself. So because nobody's listening, he said, in the name of myself. Allah Azza wa Jalla knows who paid the money, so he's not going to run away with the money. So Allah knows who had paid the money. So the name is beside the point. Bismillah, Allahu Akbar. That's the make the udhiyah. And make sure that the udhiyah is the best. And to make the udhiyah from the camel on your own is the best. And of course after that the cow. And after that the sheep. And the sheep goes as well in categories. The sheep, which is the white, better than the black. Meaning the ram is better than the goat. And the male is better than the female. Okay? In terms of slaughtering. Here we go. You ask, well, you people got no justice even between the male and the female regarding the sheep. You're saying the male sheep is better than the female. We're saying male sheep to be slaughtered is better. So the female was saving it. So the male to slaughter it. And actually slaughtering the male. And that was saving the female because they are more precious to us. No, but male is better than the female. The white is better than the black. The one which is much more meaty is the one better than the one which is skinny. There are things regarding the udhiyah you need to avoid. For example, the sick, the blind, the crippled, and the ill. If it's crippled, that limping, and if it is ill, properly ill, or blind, got one eye, no eyes. Okay, and the third and the fourth one is that it is a not crazy. That means she distinguishes between the good and the bad, between the food and not the food. So that is the four conditions that you have to make sure they are there and they're not to be there, because if they're present, then you're not allowed to make this udhiyah. As well, on top of that, you need to know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had prepared a lot of reward for you when you miss this udhiyah, in every single act of this udhiyah. For example, this person, when he sharpens the knife, he does not sharpen the knife in front of that other sheep. So he sharpens the knife in front of the sheep or another sheep. He's not supposed to do that because he's killing the sheep more than once. Also, when you make sure that as well, when you make the udhiyah, and you put it on the right side.
Somebody's blocking, some cars are blocking some other cars just at the front, so they need to remove it. I think it's a BMW four-wheel drive. Okay. Maybe it's at the back now. Sorry.
Maybe sisters.
No, I know the brother. The brother at the back, they have a BMW Jeep, he's driving other cars. If you can kindly remove it, Jazakallah khair.
Maybe it's in the toilet. Okay, khair inshallah. Let's start with our course. It's not going to be a long time inshallah. Just bear in mind that we're going to be having a very sort of concentrated dose regarding the purification. Right, we'll start first of all. This purification course is being taken from a book. It's called al-Hijjah, but I'm not going to be reading the Hijjah. I'm going to be doing sort of the cream of the crop. First of all, that what we give you is supported by from the book and the Sunnah. And we're from the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we take the correct meaning from the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So our sources for Islamic laws is from four. Number one, Quran. Number two, Sunnah. And they are together. Quran and Sunnah. We don't say, for example, if we have an issue, we look into the Quran first, and then if we don't find anything regarding the issue, we look into the Sunnah. That's absolutely wrong. We look into the Quran and the Sunnah, otherwise we're going to get in chaos. We're going to get lots of contradictions. I'll give you an example. If you look into the Quran, it says, حُرِّمَتْ عَلَيْكُمُ الْمَيْتَةِ. Carrying animals, that means were not slaughtered, they're being killed other than slaughtering, they're being thrown from the mountain, being drowned in the sea. All of those animals, Allah says, حُرِّمَتْ عَلَيْكُمُ الْمَيْتَةِ. Carrying is to be forbidden, haram upon you. So if you look into that Quran, this is our Quran, Quran says haram. But is that true? Every dead animal is haram to you? No, the Sunnah makes exception. أُحِلَّتْ لَكُمْ مَيْتَةً. Two dead animals are being made to be lawful to you. One, which is the fish, anything in the sea. You take it out of the sea, it dies. Nobody would say to you, is it being slaughtered, the fish? No, fish is halal to be eaten. As long as not rotted. I mean, you took it out and you left it outside. But if you put it in the freezer, after 2 months, 3 months, still you could eat the fish. Second one is the locust. Have you heard about the locust? Jarad. Nice. For those who had eaten it. Locust. Even is dead. There's nobody say to you, slaughter the locust. How do we know that? This is from the Sunnah. So why? Because Quran and Sunnah both from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Quran, we took it from the mouth of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. True? Yes. It's from the mouth of the Prophet, from Jibreel alayhi salam, from Allah. That's the chain. And the Sunnah, it is from Allah. It's from the Jibreel alayhi salam, from Allah. Same thing. But the Quran are the words of Allah. And the Sunnah is, the meaning of it is from Allah, but the words are from a human being. That means Allah did not challenge us in the Sunnah of the Prophet of Allah, produce a hadith like the hadith of the Prophet, but He challenged us in the Quran. First challenge, bring like the Quran. Second challenge, like 10 surah from the Quran. Third challenge, bring a surah. And the smallest surah of the Quran, Surah Al-Kawthar. How many verses? 3. Yet Allah Azza wa Jalla is challenging the Arabs, the poets, bring a surah like it, and they couldn't. Whether it's Utbah bin Rabi'ah, all these big poets, they couldn't. They are helpless. They were getting help from the jinn and everybody. Yet they were unable to produce even the smallest chapter. Inna a'tainaka al-kawthar. Fasalli li rabbika wanhar. Inna shani'aka wal abtar. 3 verses. The Quran and Sunnah are the two main sources of our Islamic laws. Second and the third and the fourth, they are secondary sources. Secondary sources are consensus. You call it ijma', agreement. And which consensus are we talking about? The ijma' of the Sahaba. Ijma' of the Sahaba. And this consensus is secondary. We could see it in a very simple act. Which is, for example, if we are about to implement the law against a person who had stolen, a thief, from the house, a male or a female, what do we find in the Quran? We find in the Quran, وَالسَّارِقُ وَالسَّارِقَةُ فَقْطَعُوا أَيْدِيَهُمَا. That is the male thief and the female thief, cut their hand. Now in Arabic, if I go to Arabic language tells you that from the tip of the finger there up to the underarms is a hand. Where should I cut the hand from? Should I cut the hand from here, from there, from there, or from there? Or for example, if it's a Pakistani from there, if it's an Indian from here, if it's an Arab from there, Jewish, what do we do? The hand is from there to there. And the Quran doesn't really mention. If you look at the Sunnah, nothing in the Hadith tells you that you cut from where. Nothing in the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. How can we get it? We get it from the Ijma'. This is the second resource. That is, Umar al-Khattab in his time, in his reign of his Khilafah, there was a thief, and the law was implemented. The hand was cut off from where? From the wrist, here. And the companions were watching, so watching, and there was ijma', consensus, because if one of the Sahaba said, hang on a second, you can't cut off from here, Umar, because the Prophet of Allah did not point to here. That means the companions had an agreement. Because when the Prophet of Allah recited the verse, وَالسَّارِقُ وَالسَّارِقَةُ فَاقْطَعُوا أَيْدِيَهُمَا, the Prophet of Allah was pointing to where? To the wrist. So that's why they cut from the wrist. Is that understood now? This is the third law. Fourth law, which is secondary, is qiyas, which is deduction by analogy. Deduction by analogy. Qiyas. That means the decision. It has to be as well supported from the book and the sunnah, but because there is no such thing had happened, whether in the Quran or the sunnah or in the companions, like for example smoking cigarettes. There is no in the Quran, oh you who believe don't smoke cigarettes. And there is no in the sunnah, oh you people don't smoke the dope. For example, there is no such thing. In the hadith of the companions, the smoking cigarettes wasn't there at that time. So something which has had happened recently, cigarettes. Now, Allah Azza wa Jal, through the Quran and the Sunnah, left nothing unless He get given an answer for it, a principle. What is the principle for this? La darara wa la dirar. In the hadith of the Prophet of Allah, there is nothing to harm you or harm others. If it is the case, then it is haram. We look into cigarettes. Is it harmful? Yes, it is harmful. Then it is haram. That's called qiyas. That is, we have arrived at the decision of this as being unlawful through analogy. So now this is the four sources of Islam, and there is no other sources than that. So again I mentioned them, Quran and Sunnah, the primary sources, and like they are like this. Remember that, because you might hear somebody say Quran first and Sunnah first, depending upon the hadith of Mu'adh, which is unauthentic. That is Mu'adh ibn Jabal radiallahu anhu was sent to Yemen, which is true. And then the hadith which is not true, the Prophet ﷺ, he said, if you face a case, what would you do? He said, I'll look in the Quran. If you don't find, and then I'll look into the Sunnah. If you don't find, that's not right hadith. It is actually incorrect. How can you look in the Quran and the Sunnah where the Prophet of Allah is alive? Mu'adh ibn Jabal has to refer to the Prophet of Allah. If any affair had he had faced an issue, he had to refer to the Prophet of Allah and ask the Messenger of Allah this question, what should I do? And that's why the Prophet of Allah himself, when he was asked questions that he doesn't know the answer, what would he say? Wait. A woman, she came, Messenger of Allah, from the Ansar. The men, the migrators, when they come, they got married to us. We used to come and approach our husbands from the side. So this woman, she married before to an Ansari from the inhabitants of the Medina. When they make the intercourse, they make it sideways, like the Jews. Now these people come from Mecca, they came and now they are married to us, but they do all sorts of things. That means the intercourse comes from every side. Is this halal or haram? Prophet of Allah said, wait. Until Allah Azza wa Jalla had sent the verse, وَآتُوا حَرْثَكُمْ أَنَّا شِئْتُمْ. That is, come to your wife and approach them in the way which is suitable. That means as long as it is where? In the right position, in the right hole, meaning. If it's in the right hole, it doesn't matter how you come to approaching the wife. So you can do whatever you like, as long as it is not in the hole which is haram, that is the backside. It is in the front, there's no problem about that. So here the Prophet of Allah did not answer the question until he got what? The answer from Allah Azza wa Jalla was revelation. Quran and Sunnah, they come from the same sources. And that is why I had to make this introduction to elucidate for my talk, because everything I'm going to narrate for you is from the Quran and the Sunnah. And I'm not going to, for example, favor a methodology upon the other. I'm not going to, for example, make the Hanafi or the Shafi'i or the Imam Malik or the Imam Ahmad to be my favorite Imam, and I'm going to be Hanbali or Shafi'i or Hanafi or Maliki. No. I'm taking all these scholars. I'm a Hanafi, Shafi'i, Maliki and Hanbali in one person. And I'm going to add to you, I'm Layth ibn Sa'ad, I'm Sufyan al-Thawri, and I'm all of those scholars, inshallah. Because all of these scholars, they said, if the hadith is correct and authentic, I am a follower to that hadith. None of them said, follow me and don't follow the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. True? I want to start with that, inshallah. First of all, you need to know that most important regarding purification, you need to understand water. Because water is the source of purification. Al-Miyah. And this water, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had given it as a blessing. And from everything is being told. From the water, everything is being created. Everything is water. And that is why the scientists, they say that this planet has no water. That means it has no what? No life. If it's got water, that means it has no life. Because water is the source of everything. So the water, Allah Azza wa Jalla made it available to us. From the rain. Every drop of rain goes on the floor, that's halal, you could use it. And this water had this two qualification. What are the two qualifications of the water? Number one, pure in itself. Number two, that is purifies others. If it loses one of the two, it is not the pure water we're talking about. So if the water, for example, is mixed with rose water, you know the rose water? It's called rose and water. Because it's got water and it's got the extract of the rose. And that's why rose water. Now the rose water had lost one quality out of that. Which one? Okay, purifying others. It's pure in itself. You could use the rose water to drink. You could, for people who got stomach ache, for rubbing it on the arm, no problem. But to make wudu with it, no. Why? Because it had lost that quality, which is to purify others. So the water which is pure in itself, and has the ability of purifying others. Now, those people who, for example, go to the tub, the tub, they go and swim in the tub. Okay, they fill up the tub, and then they have ghusl. Is this ghusl enough for them for the wudu or not? No problem. But if you have mixed with it bubbles, the bubbles, bath bubbles, to an extent that the person, when he looks at it, it's not water anymore. It is what? Bubbly bath. It's a bubble bath. That bubbly bath is good to take the dirt out and everything, but it is not enough for you to what? Consider yourself pure from it. You need to wash yourself with the tap water or the shower water in order to make yourself pure. Yes, it will take the dirt off, but it will not make you purified for the prayer or for other types of ibadah, from those ibadah that they need, for example, wudu, like making the circumambulation around the Kaaba or Safa and Marwa. The water, it in itself is pure. Nothing will take the pure water from its purity unless we have one of the three things had changed. Water has taste and had a smell and had a color. So three things: taste and smell and color. Now those three things, if the water was mixed with a pure element like soap, we have said, or rose, okay, if it lost the taste or lost any of these qualities, still it's pure water. Unless the water, it becomes in three qualities of it, it is not water anymore. It's a bubble. It's like, for example, it's mixed so much into the oil, became oil. Because you have to make sure sometimes that the water is mixed with something pure, but it does not take the water after of its name being water. So if it's bubble but not that lot of bubbles, I could see, the water is clear there. It's got to be the bubble. That's water, inshallah, pure in itself and has the ability to purify others. But if it meets an impure element, let's say urine, if it changes one of the three characteristics, whether it's the smell or the color or the taste, then this water is impure. So let's say, for example, I've got this cup full of water and I put a drop of tea. Yes? 2 drops of tea, 3 drops of tea. Is it still water? Yes. Cup of water. Put a drop of tea, 1 drop, because tea is what? Pure. It's still water. Even though if I taste the water, maybe it will be what? Sweet. True or not? Because of that drop of sugar. Still water. But when you mix it up so much that the water color change, oh, that's not water, this is tea. Can I make wudu with this tea? Can I? But is it halal to drink? Yes, bismillah. Halal, but can I make wudu with it? But let's say this water is mixed with urine, drop of urine. The drop of urine, does it change the color, the taste, or the smell? Drop, just 1 drop, it will not. I'm not saying to you to drink it, but that drop will not change it. So I'm able to what? Use it. But if I use another drop, it smells urine now, for example, can I use it? Even looks water, can I use it? No. See the difference between mixing with a pure element and impure element. So here, because it changes just the smell, it smells urine, so I can't make wudu with that. Even it looks water. Whereas the tea, you put it 2 drops, 3 drops, it might give a smell of a tea, but still the water is water, looks water. I could still make it or purification. Whereas if it's mixed up with impure element, if it changes any one of these 3 characteristics, smell, taste or color, then this water is unacceptable to be pure water. It lost the 2 qualities, that is purification and as well purifying others. Purification as in pure in itself or purifying other elements. Is that understood, everybody now? So we have lots of water now. The well water, and some of these waters have well been staying in the well for a long time. And you could say the algae, the algae inside, that algae does not change the qualification and the quality of the water. So still you could use that water for what? Purification, because it has been mixed up with what? With pure element. Is that understood? Exactly that. Seawater. The seawater is salty, isn't it? Can you drink the salt water? You can't. But can you make wudu with it? Yes. Because still water. If somebody urinated in that sea, can you make wudu in that water? Yes, no problem. I don't think urine is going to pollute the whole sea. Water is so much that the water hasn't gone to any impurity. So the water in the well, the water which is mixed with algae and all of that still has not lost its impurity. Now we come into the impurities. Impurities is, the definition of it, is everything that the people whom they have unspoiled, unpolluted nature. Because you see, I'm saying unpolluted nature, unfortunately we see there are some of those people, wal'iyadu billah, that their nature has totally been damaged, if you understand what I'm saying. That they can't distinguish between the urine flying on their trousers and flying everywhere and having some of it in their hands, and sometimes I feel reluctant even to shake their hands if they wash their hands in the tap or not, because they don't have any care. Where the Muslim, he's always pure and he's always, mashallah, keen to make sure that he's what? He's clean. So we say that the impurity is something that the people who have the nature which is unspoiled, they will keep away from it. And they will straight away wash if it touches, for example, touch their body or touch their clothes. Now, we have to know as a principle, everything is to be pure unless proved otherwise. This is an important principle. Everything is being pure, so everything is pure. If you want to make it impure, you have to have a solid proof. Otherwise, you're going to mess up lots of things. You're going to say this is impure, this is impure. And then I'm going to tell you what it is. For example, you pass by a house. The gutter of the house drops some water on you. That water is supposed to be what? Pure. And you're not supposed to go smelling it and scrutinize and put it in the microscope and go, no, it's pure. When does it become impure? Ooh, it smells sewage. Then it's impure. So that means the smell of it came so much, it's sewage. But if it came just like that, first of all, you consider it pure. Unless proved otherwise. How proved otherwise? The smell came out, the colors came out when you stinky, the state, it came into your mouth. That's, for example, urine. But otherwise, it is pure. And that's a very important issue, as I say, will solve a lot of headaches for the person. What are these impurities that are considered by Sharia as impurity? Number one, the urine and the excrement, urine and excrement of the human being, regardless who he is. The urine and the excrement of the human being. Now, this human being, there is Allah Azza wa Jalla giving concession. For what? For the babies. Babies who are, number one, unweaned. Unweaned, what does that mean, unweaned? I mean, he's not feeding food. Most of his food is what? Milk. If he eats food a bit, no problem, but most of his food is what? Milk. And that milk becomes unweaned. Bismillah. His urine, just the urine, and has to be the male. The male. The female, no. So male, unweaned, he's got a concession. What's a concession? Is that his urine is still impure, but the impurity of it is not as much as the adult or the female unweaned. That is, if you have the urine of the unweaned male baby was on your clothes, all you have to do is just to bring some water and sprinkle it. Khalas. It is impure, but the impurity has been belittled. Why is that? That's a concession from Allah. Reason behind this of 3 reasons. Reason number 1, the Arabs at that time, they used to carry their mail all the time. You can't boast about it. They liked to carry the mail along with them. Wherever they want, to the house, to the masjid. Carry the guests, carry the mail. And if they carry the mail, every time they're going to urine on them, they will never carry him. And every time they're going to wash his clothes and put it in the washing machine or wash it with his own hands at that time, so difficult. It's going to be difficult. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made this concession so to make it easy for the people to carry their male babies. Number 1. Number 2, the mechanism by which the male baby urinates is different from the mechanism that the female urinates. The female urine is easy, it's on one spot, whereas the mechanism of the male is all over the place. Do you understand what I'm saying? So because of that, Allah made the concession. Because if it's all over the place, they're going to be doing washing the carpet and washing the clothes of the other person, go and take it off and wash it. So alhamdulillah, just a sprinkle of water like that, and it's finished. 3rd reason is Allah Azza wa Jal, by His creation, He told us and He knows that is, the urine of the female is different in terms of stinkness, in terms of how impure it is. The female is more impure than the male urine. Subhanallah. So the impurity of the female is more than the impurity of the male. For those three reasons, Allah had given that concession. That is, this urine, not the excrement, the urine only of the unweaned male baby is to have the sprinkling, other than the rest of the urine. So we have these two, the urine and the excrement is to be impure. The other impurity as well, something called al-madi and al-wadi. What are these madi and al-wadi? Al-madi and wadi, they come from both male and female, and they come from, usually it is the case, from people who are adults. The madi, the wadi is something comes after the urination. It's a thick liquid that comes after it. Sometimes the person does not feel it. And the madi is the person when he thinks about his wife or foreplay. As soon as he thinks about that, something is being produced, and most of the time he will feel it, and it is not as thick as the first one. Both of them, they are to be impure. Once you have them, you need to do the following. That is, to wash your private parts, including your testicles. Everything. So whole of the private parts has to be washed, whether it's the male or the female. They have to wash all of it. As for the underwear, they have to be washed by sprinkling water. So you don't have to take it out and wash it like you wash it. By sprinkling the water inside, that's enough and suffices, inshallah. So we have learned now that the person, when he finds, for example, after urination, something that comes out which is white and thick, that's called wadi. And it's nothing to do with thinking about a wife. And this one is impure. And this impurity, just all you have to need just to wash all of your private part. Make sure you sprinkle water in your pants as well. Second one is the madi, which is a person when he thinks about his wife. And that is why Ali ibn Abi Talib, he was a lot of, so he used to be madha'a. I kuntu rajulan madha'a, and produce this, you know. And I was shy to ask the Prophet ﷺ because he's married to his daughter Fatima. So he said, the man, please can ask about the madi, what should I do? So the Prophet ﷺ answered him, he said, all you have to do is to wash your private parts. So there is no full wash like the mani that we're going to talk about, inshallah. Mani means the womb ejaculation. Right. After that, we need as well to know from those things which are impure is the stool of those animals whom their meat is impermissible. So all these animals whom their meat is impermissible, like lions, you can't eat a lion. Tigers, you can't eat a tiger. Falcon, eagles, all of these animals you're not allowed to eat. Their poo, their excrement, you're not allowed, this is to be impure. So this is the rawth, and I'm saying the poo. As for the urine, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us this concession. When the Prophet ﷺ's companion, they used to go on top of some of the animals which are impermissible to eat, that some of the urine used to fly on their clothes, and the Prophet ﷺ never said anything regarding it. So it's only the poo, the excrement, not the urine, as a concession from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Also from that which is impure is the menses blood. And why did I say the menses blood? To make sure that you understand that the type of the blood which is only impure is the menses. Menses includes postnatal or menses. What is menses? You know, the woman, she has her period. Once she reaches her adulthood, she has her period, and that period includes blood. That blood comes, and with the consensus of all scholars, is to be impure. As for the postnatal, when she gives birth, she discharges some blood. Normally it's up to 40 days. Sometimes are less than that. Then this blood is to be impure. That blood is impure, meaning other types of blood is to be pure. So, for example, we know for a fact that Imam Abu Hanifa, Hanafi Madhab, they say the blood is to be impure regardless whether it's menses or not menses. Okay, that's their methodology. We understand that Abu Hanifa rahimahullah, he's not a prophet, but he's a Mashi scholar, mashallah. But we need to know we are followers of the haqq. Here, we don't follow Imam Abu Hanifa. Like we did not follow Imam Shafi'i in the terms of touching a woman that will invalidate the wudu. We're going to talk about that. So, why is that? Because the Prophet ﷺ, when he appointed two companions, and that is Ammar ibn Yasir and Abbad ibn Bishr, two companions to guard for the companions when they were in a battle, they were guarding for the sake of the enemies that will not attack the army. So Ammar ibn Yasir, he said to Abbad ibn Bishr, which part of the night do you want me to, guard for you? He said, the second part. So Ammar ibn Yasir slept at the beginning of the night, and Abbad ibn Bishr stayed awake until half of the night, and then they would swap. Another person would sleep, in other words, the other one would stay in guard. The enemy, this of Allah Azza wa Jal, he saw this opportunity, and he wanted to kill one of them. So he saw the one who was standing in prayer, and he was praying. This Abbad ibn Bishr, he was praying. So with an arrow, he kicked him and hit him in the arrow. And the arrow hits him, and he was gushing blood. So the blood came out. According to the Hanafi madhab, his prayer is what? Is invalid. So the companion continued to pray. The second arrow came, more gushing of blood. Companion stayed, and he was reciting Surah Al-Kahf. Third arrow, he came, and and then he saw himself is not going to be, he's going to be struggling to stand up, and he can't go on. So he finished the prayer quickly, and then he woke up his friend. When he woke up his friend, the enemy was on watch. He ran away. So he said, "Why didn't you wake him up from the beginning?" He said, "I didn't like to stop my recitation of Surah Al-Kahf." So he didn't want to stop. Had it been that a Prophet of Allah put me in charge, entrusted me for guiding the Muslim, I will not stop the whole prayer until I finish the surah. But he was scared that he's going to faint, fell unconscious, and then he'll jeopardize the Muslim. That's why he finished the prayer quickly, did not recite the full surah of Kahf. And now when they told the Prophet ﷺ, the Prophet of Allah has got revelation. He could have been told, yes, Abbad ibn Bishr, Jazakallah khairan for prayer, but your prayer is invalid. Why? Because you were bleeding. He did not say that. Because of that, we say the blood is to be pure. Remember the principle: everything is pure unless proved otherwise. That's the principle. So when somebody says impure, bring me a proof. As for the menses, we have lots of proof. For example, the proof of Asma bint Abi Bakr. She came to the Prophet ﷺ. She said, "Messenger of Allah, some of our clothes are being touched by this menses blood. What should we do?" So the Prophet ﷺ said, "You should scrub it, scrub it, take it up, and clean it, and rub it, and clean it, and use detergent as well. Sidr, work sidr, to make sure that until it comes out. And then after that, you sprinkle water in the clothes and you pray in it. So it makes sure, it means that what? It is impure. That's why you have to scrub it and clean it and use lot as well, leaves. That's why it is impure. Also, from the impurity is the saliva of the dog. Any type of dog, whether it's old, young, whether it's shepherdman or not shepherdman, all types of dog, whether it's black or non-black, their saliva is to be impure. As their fur is pure, so the saliva of the dog is to be impure. And I will add to that, if that saliva of the dog touched the pot which you eat or you drink from it, you need to wash that tub, that bowl, that cup, that bowl with sun, and 7 times wash, 7 times. One of them is sand. Well, the one of them, the sand, is not to be the last one, because if you put the last one, you need another wash. So to be the first one or the second one, no problem. But if you put the last one, you need another wash. At least 7. And that's the sunnah. 7. Why? Allah Ta'ala A'lam. Because the saliva, it sticks to the bowl. As if it licks your clothes, scholars are different, and there is no proof to say that is to wash it 7 times. So you don't need to put sand into your washing machine for washing your clothes that have been touched by a dog. All you have to do is just wash the area. That's all, put water on that area where he licked it. And I wouldn't really advise you to get close to the dogs. Prophet of Allah ﷺ, he did not like the dogs. Okay, so he said even if the dogs were to be a nation from the hadn't been the dogs a species from the species, it would have ordered for them to be killed. The dogs all the time scares you. How? Okay. Yes, the dogs which are good for us is the one which is guarding dog, shepherd dog, leading dog, hunting dog. Yes, but dog being spoiled dog, and to eat whatever I eat, and even the car, the dogs sit in the front seat and the wife sits at the back, or the husband sits at the back. That dog we don't want to. That dog is really is actually for the disbelievers. Us believers, we don't care if the dog is a list, have a reason behind it. Now after that we go to the carrion. Carrion, the dead animals. We said any animal which hasn't been slaughtered according to the Sharia is to be a dead animal. And this dead animal is to be impure. Now the impurity of the dead animal, we said number 1 is exclusion of anything in the sea. Anything in the sea. Regardless, whether it's a fish or a snake. See, the snake and the land is haram because of its fangs. But the snake in the sea is halal. Why? Allah Ta'ala A'lam. And I'll tell you what, I watched a program with a person who puts himself in extreme circumstances and he wants to survive. It's an idiot person, subhanAllah. What's his name?
Bear Grylls.
Bear Grylls, yes, that's the one. Where he drinks his urine, that's why I say he's an idiot person. So he puts himself in extreme circumstances and he wants to live. But I was watching this program because I'm keen to know what sort of taste does he get when he eats those animals, when he drinks his urine. He gives us what he feels, okay? And he was in an area with lots of snakes and he was to eat and he's hungry. So he got the rattling snake and he barbecued that rattling snake and took the poison out of there, and then he started eating just a bit because he said, it stinks, he said, it's awful, ugh, not nice. In another extreme circumstances where he was in like an island, the sea there, and he got a snake from the sea and he barbecued it, and he's telling me now, I was a viewer, what is the taste of that snake? He said, it tastes like fish. Subhanallah, I said, that's why Allah Azza wa Jal made that one haram and made this halal. He doesn't know that idiot knows. We know it. That one stinks, we know. We know it's haram for us to eat. And the one, he said, he finished the whole snake. The other one, he just took a bite from it, just to make himself survive. See the difference? The other one tastes like fish. So anything that lives in the sea and you take it from the sea, dies, that is halal to eat. What about if it lives in the sea and in the land? That's where the scholars differed. Like the crocodile. They live in the sea and they live where? In the land. If most of his life is in the sea, it's halal. If it's most of his life in the land, it's now we're going to apply the rules. If it's got fangs, if it's got canines, if it's got claws, okay? Then apply the rules. If it hasn't got that, then it's haram. Like claws or fangs or canines, like the lions, it's haram to eat. Otherwise, it's halal. So let me just give you an example. It's called the big animal, hippopotamus. So that's the one. That lives mostly where? In the water, in the river. But it lives in the land as well. It goes in the land. That's halal. And I've asked those people who eat it, the Africans, got some brothers. It's beautiful meat, they said to me. Very nice for you. Very nice. Subhanallah. I never met somebody who, what about the crocodile? Where does he live most of the time? Out or in? That's where you differ, isn't it? It's a grey area. Shubuhat. Doubtful matters. Okay? I have never met yet a person who had eaten crocodile yet to tell me what's the taste of it. Okay. So, regarding the land animals, we're going to talk about that when we talk about regarding the animals, but the land animals, we said that the God has got canines. Canines where he kills by it. He uses it for his prey. Not just simply he's got a canine. So let's just talk about that animal. Like elephant. Has he got a canine? He's got a big massive tusk. But does he kill with them? Does he eat his food through them? No, he doesn't. He's a vegetarian, you know that? And it's halal to eat. He does not have this canine. So some people think anyone's haram. Halal to eat. Horses. Have they got a canine? No, they're vegetarian. And they're halal to eat. You Uzbekistanis, you love to eat horses. Isn't it? Yes. One of your friends invited me for a horse meal. I said, thank you very much. But my friend went there to eat it. He said, I don't think you'll like it. It's nice because he says, got the meat and then the fat on top of it. Because of the fat is on top of it, not mixed. I don't like. I like the lamb. The lamb is mixed. That's where the fat gives the taste. Subhanallah. Horse is halal. Now there is one exception for those who've got canines. What's the exception? Canine animal which got canine, even has got the strongest jaw on the face of the earth, not in the sea, in the earth. From the land animal, the most strongest jaw. Who's that? Hyena. That's halal to eat. Prophet ﷺ made it as a hunt. Subhanallah. And it's a scavenger. This animal, he goes to the rotten. So after the lion comes and he comes the last thing to take the rotten meat. Okay? Still, it's halal to eat. Allah made it halal to eat. I met lots of people that eat hyena and they say it's nice. I don't like it, but if I don't like to see it, and I haven't tasted it. Okay? It's halal. Right. Okay. Coming back, there's an interesting topic. Coming to the maita. Second issue regarding the maita. He says haram. But what is the haram regarding the maita, the carrying? Is to eat or to buy and sell. But for you to get the dead meat, to use it for fertilizer in the land, no problem. You know, some of the meat, for example, a rotten sheep. If you put it in the land, it makes, like, for example, nice compost, yeah? Nice fertilization. It nurtures the earth, if you understand. It will give nice food. No problem. But to buy it or sell it is haram. To eat it is haram. Is that understood? But to use it, no problem. If it can be used for medicine, no problem. You understand what I'm saying? So this is an important issue. Only haram for me, the carrying is to eat or to buy and sell, nothing else. So I'll give you an example. For some of you that got cats at home, yes? Those cats, unless you've been training the cat to be vegetarian, usually they're not vegetarians. They eat meat. So if you get that meat, you usually get the meat like Whiskas. You heard about Whiskas? Buy them from the shop, from the shelf. That Whiskas is made mostly from dead animals, not slaughtered according to Sharia. Am I allowed to buy Whiskas for my beautiful cat? No, I'm not. Either I train my cat to be vegetarian, or I get Whiskas as a present from somebody, or I get fish. Yes, fish. And I get fish. But if it's rotten fish, like fish being rotten before it was, and it being given to the, which usually is not the case, usually, then I can't buy it. So the animal, not going to tell you when you give it the meat, is it halal? It's not going to tell you is it halal or not halal. But it's going to tell you, fear Allah, don't buy animals which are dead. You're not allowed to buy them. You can get them free, no problem, give them to me. Give them to the animal. But don't give to the animal something which is bought haram. You understand me? You can't buy dead meat. Is that allowed? Is that understood? So the carrying is not allowed to eat or buy or sell. Right. Coming to the exception number 3 from the dead animal, which is, after the class, there's lots of questions for you. The bones and the clothes, the hair, the fur, all of that is to be an exception. As for the skin of the animal, if it is not being slaughtered, then you need to tan it. Once you tan it, it becomes halal to be used. So if you've got, for example, the shoe made of, for example, a crocodile skin, made of a lion or a tiger skin, you heard about this, or a jacket made of a tiger skin or a lion skin or a leopard skin, and most of those jackets have been tanned. You know what tanned means? Tanned is being cleaned and then being treated with something, put in the sun and all of that, salted. And of course it's been tanned, lots of tanning, because you don't spill the lime, for example, into the fur or into the jacket, you don't spill it in the shoe. So it's properly tanned, it's no problem. But if it's not been tanned, it's haram. Unless it is from the slaughtered animal, like a sheep. A sheep, skin, if it's slaughtered, you don't have to tan it, but you tan it to get rid of the smell. But in itself, the skin became halal, because the meat is halal and the skin is halal. You understood? Once the meat is haram, then the skin is haram. Right. We're going to stop here now, and next week we'll talk about how to wash and clean the najasa, the impurity. How to clean the impurity. Because I have started with the Udhiyah and Eid al-Adha, it took some time. So I'm going to give you now 20 minutes for question and answers. You could ask, but there'll be like 20 minutes for question and answers. So we're going to ask the brother to go ahead.
You talked about horse meat being halal, yeah? What about donkey's meat? It's a vegetarian.
Right, donkey's meat, halal or haram. Donkey's meat, in Arabic, donkey is himar. But for Arabic we have himar, which we say himar al-wahshi, and the second one himar al-ahli. What does that mean? Domestic donkey, and the other one is zebra, which is, they call it himar al-wahshi, that is the wild donkey. The zebra is halal. The donkey, which is the domestic one, the rod donkey, you know donkey, it was halal at the beginning, and then the Prophet ﷺ said, it is riks. What is riks? It means najis. And they were cooking them already when they were cooking them. As soon as they heard the Prophet say that, they put the cooking pan upside down and they put it out. And it became haram. So the red donkey or the domestic donkey is haram to eat, whereas the zebra, which as he said, brother, is a vegetarian animal, yes, it is halal. But remember, there's not everything vegetarian are allowed to eat. Is that understood? Like, for example, insects. We're not Chinese people here going to termites and worms and eat them. Even they are vegetarians. We're not allowed to eat them. Yes. You understand? Not everything vegetarian. It's not a rule. Everything vegetarian is halal and everything which eats meat is haram. No, that's not true. No.
I have two questions actually.
تفضل.
First one, inshallah, is to do with Yom Arafah.
The day of Arafah.
Day of Arafah. Obviously, it's called Day of Arafah because the Hujjaj would stand on Arafah. So there's only one Arafah, one day in the whole world. So how can we justify the countries that you've mentioned just now, where people actually they're going to start the month tomorrow. So basically they say their Arafah is the Eid day, and they will be actually fasting on the Eid day. So how come they call it Day of Arafah?
When the people are not on Arafah, or already been on Arafah.
Exactly. So if you can shed the light on that. And secondly...
Okay, let's just go to the first, because the second I will forget about it. Hold on to the second. As for the first question, regarding the day of Arafah, it's an argument that was being put by us to them. We said the best of scenarios is to have one Eid, one Arafah on everything. Do you understand what I'm saying? But we do have people who sight the moon in a different way. They sighted the moon, for example, in a way that it is going to be aware before or after. We have an athar of Habbar. This athar, that he came at the reign of the Khilafah of Umar al-Khattab radiallahu anhu. And they were from a tribe. They don't have that communication. They don't have, for example, mobiles or anything like this at that time. So people, they sight the moon differently. Like Mu'awiyah ibn Abi Sufyan radiallahu anhu, he was sighting the moon differently from the people of Iraq, from the people of Medina. And that's why Abdullah ibn Abbas, he came from the area of Mu'awiyah, came to Medina, and they were sighting the moon the day before. So the ones who are in the Medina said, we're not going to break our fast until we see our moon. We're not going to depend upon Muawiyah's sighting, because they sighted a day before. Same thing with Habbar here. He came and he sighted the moon, that to be the day of Arafah is the day of the Eid. So they sighted the moon before. So when he came to Mecca, he found the people are one day behind. That means his day of Arafah is going to be his day of what? Eid. So he came and he was next to Aisha. She said, eat. He said, how can I eat? I don't know. Maybe the day today is the day of Arafah, because it was the day of Adha, and Adha you're not allowed to fast. She said, eat. She said, I can't. I don't know, because we've sighted the moon. Okay, a day after you. So we have the day of Arafah today. I don't know, because I don't want to lose that day. She said, eat. For verily, قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم said, قال أضحاكم يوم تضحون ففطركم يوم تفطرون وصيامكم يوم تصومون. That is your siyam when everybody fasts. When you fast, when everybody fasts. Your breaking of the fast when everybody breaks the fast. Your adha is when everybody makes adha. It's not on your own. Do you understand that? So if you came to a country where you have an adha, then you have to be with adha. It's not your own sighting. But if it happens that that guy was with his own family, with his own tribe, then they still make their Arafah on the day where the people had already went on Arafah. Do you understand me? Which is the day before. So she never said to him, your days are wrong, your tribes are wrong, because it's sighted the moon. But now we could say to those people, you got the news, you got now, mashallah, internet and everything. You should really be with us. You understand me? And we put this argument to them, how can you stand on Arafah on a day which we already stood on it? People on Arafah was yesterday. And the day of Arafah, yes, it was the day of Arafah, because the day where people stands on Arafah. That's what it is. People of the pilgrims on Arafah. So this argument was put forward to me that there is no link between Hajj and Eid al-Adha, because Hajj was made obligatory on the year 9 after Hijrah. That is and as for the Eid, it was 7 years before. Let me correct this statement. First of all, that is untrue. Number one, untrue that the Hajj started on the 9th year of Hijrah. No, Hajj started from Ibrahim alayhi salam. The Hajj from the time of Ibrahim alayhi salam, they were making Hajj. And they used to make Arafah and everything. And that's why the Jamarat area where Shayateen came to Ibrahim, Iblisi came to Ibrahim alayhi salam, on the Jamarat area in Mina. So the Arafah rituals from the day Ibrahim alayhi salam. That's number one. Number two, the Hajj became compulsory on the Prophet. There is Hajj, but it became compulsory on the Prophet, on the Muslims, in years which are different among the scholars. The correct opinion is not 9, year 10. On the year that he made the Hajj itself. Once it became compulsory, the Prophet of Allah made the Hajj. Okay, so let's begin. Number 3, regarding the Eid of al-Adha, it was imposed for 7 years. The Eid, no, it was from a long time ago. But when he came to the Medina, the Prophet of Allah, he saw that these people, they're making 2 days, which is not the Eid of al-Adha, Eid of al-Adha, different 2 days. So Allah had abrogated them, and He said Allah had exchanged them for you for a better 2 das. Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha, which is already been done. Not now, it's already, we have Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha. But the Prophet of Allah said that these Eids you should be not celebrating them. So we go ahead and say to the brothers, the day of Arafah has been called because the people stand on Arafah. We're supposed to be with the people of Arafah. Even though that maybe you're sighting the moon the day after or the day before, we tell you brothers, we have to be all together. And we should be going with the first person who sights the moons first. And it's never been, since I have lived my life, that anybody was, or any country, sighted the moon, whether for the day of Eid al-Fitr or the day of Eid al-Adha, before Saudi Arabia. Do you understand what I'm saying? No country, for example, had made their Eid before. No other country. All the time is after. Do you understand me? Never been before. One day, 1 year, about 6 or 5 years ago, I remember, it was the 29th of Ramadan. So tomorrow it could be the 1st of Shawwal, or it could be the 30th of Ramadan. It could be the completing day of Ramadan. It could be in the afternoon. I remember that very well. 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, which is 5 o'clock in Saudi Arabia, 2 hours ahead. Or some that even in the summer will be 3 hours ahead. And yet Saudi Arabia has announced tomorrow is Eid or is it Ramadan. Nigeria, I remember that country. Nigeria already announced that tomorrow is Eid. Somebody sent me a message from our community. What should we do? Should we announce tomorrow's Eid? Because the first country announced Eid is Nigeria. I said to them, I don't know if Nigeria is good enough to be having that sort of government that they know about the sun. Let's wait. And Alhamdulillah, about an hour later, Saudi Arabia announced that tomorrow is the Eid. It's after the moon. So now it would be a dilemma that if Nigeria was announcing tomorrow's Eid and Saudi Arabia did not announce the Eid. So if I was in charge of my community, if I would say to them, if Nigeria has announced tomorrow's Eid and Nigeria has got a proper government, they will go with Nigeria. The first country that will bring the news is tomorrow's Eid. But in my life of experience, anybody who to prove it wrong, please go ahead. That Saudi Arabia all the time had their Eid first. And the rest, some of them, they either with Saudi Arabia or after, but not before. If you want to tell me there is an incident, please tell me, and I would retract from what I say, inshallah. Now,
second question. But
second question.
Yeah, with animals, you have not mentioned the snails, Sheikh. Snails.
The snails. Now, this is there's a rule regarding those snails. Any animal which the people are feeling, or the people their nature has been unspoiled, having been disgusted with type of an animal, there's no problem to eat. This type of animal has got no blood. Snails got no blood. So I cannot say it's haram because some countries snails, and some of them say that this is the best of meals. So Imam Malik says halal, and the Malik is saying it's halal. And I've tasted, I was some Moroccan brothers that have tasted the snail. Mashallah, it's very nice. But if you put me a snail, myself, a man from Bilad al-Sham, I will not eat it. But being I don't eat it, it's not haram. Prophet ﷺ did not eat the dab. The dab is a lizard. It's a big lizard like this. He lives in the desert. He did not eat it. One day, the Prophet ﷺ was with Khalid ibn Walid, who is the brother of Maymuna. Maymuna happens to be the wife of the Prophet of Allah. And then the meat was put forward for him, and he didn't know what it is. So he's about to eat. Maymuna, she said, you should tell the Prophet of Allah he's about to eat. So, Messenger of Allah, it's the dab. He put his hands away. Khalid said, is it haram? Yeah. He said, no, but this type of meat, I didn't have it in my localities. I wasn't got used to it. So Khalid knew it's halal. So he took the plate from the Prophet ﷺ and he started eating. And the Prophet ﷺ looked at him. I mean, how can you eat such a thing? But it's halal. So he's eating that lizard. Okay, for me. Some brothers had eaten that meat and it was tasting nice, but he didn't know what it is. Until in the rice they reached the tail. Come out. The tail is like a lizard, like a crocodile. When they reach the tail, oh! Then the impact of the psychological sort of effect, oh, it's not nice. Before it was nice, but once they saw this, they couldn't. They didn't have the guts to continue, subhanallah. So it depends upon the person. So snails, halal, inshallah. Can't say haram.
What about frogs?
Frogs. There's a principle as well we have to learn regarding animals. Any animal that the Prophet ﷺ commanded us to kill or commanded us not to kill is haram to eat. Is that a principle? Okay? Any animal which is Prophet ﷺ commanded us to kill, like he commanded us to kill the snake, is haram to eat. The scorpion, haram to eat. The crow, haram to eat. The rat, haram to eat. The hudayya, haram to eat. Since bird, I don't know what it is. Our Shaikh with him, he didn't know what it is as well. Right, so those are animals not allowed to eat because the Prophet said, kill them, kill that. Animals which are not allowed to kill, like the bee, you're not allowed to eat. So it's haram, not allowed to kill, it's haram to eat. Do you understand me? You're not allowed to kill, not allowed to kill the bee, it's haram to eat. Frog, you're not allowed to eat because you're not allowed to kill. Do you understand that? So you're not allowed to kill it, you're not allowed to eat it from the frogs and from that. Now, and there's of course others like a hudhud. What is a hudhud?
Bird.
Hoopoe. Hoopoe. It's a bird. It's a hoopoe. The one who Sulaiman alayhi salam used. Al-hudhud. Hudhud Sulaiman. Hoopoe. It's called hoopoe, I think. Al-hud and al-sart. I don't know what's a sart. It's a bird. I don't know it. Allah ta'ala alam. Now.
You said the dog saliva, like it's impure. When you have a hunting dog, it has to grab the bird, let's say.
Capture the prey. No.
And it's got the saliva on it. How do...
Right, okay. How can we reconcile between the saliva of the dog is impure and we use the dog for hunting where he's going to use his canines for the prey and catch it? How can we eat it? Allah ta'ala alam, subhanallah. This is from the exceptions, concessions. That is, but the dog has to have conditions to be a hunting dog. A dog which is number one, it is trained. So it cannot be an untrained dog. What does trained dog means? It means it goes according to your command. Now it goes after the prey because it's hungry. Or it does not fulfill your command because it's full. It's a trained dog. Go, it will go. Stop, it will stop. But if you command it, go, I'm full, I'm not going to go. Stop, I'm not going to listen to you, I'm hungry. This dog is not allowed to use as a hunting dog. It's animal. Number two, you say the name of Allah. If you don't say the name of Allah, and it's not allowed. So if you say the name of Allah on the dog and go and hunt, you found the prey half an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, later on, that's halal. So that's number two, it has to be. Third condition, it cannot be a black dog. Black dog, which is black, is haram to hunt. Those three conditions, then it's a hunting dog. Is that understood now? So it has to be trained. Number two, it has to be trained, and it has to be not black dog. And the third condition, what we said?
Bismillah.
And Bismillah. The word Bismillah. Now.
You say about the dog, you know, sometimes in the lift, they came with you, and sometimes I got longer qamis. So sometimes, one day it happened to me, he touched me. Well,
He licked you?
no, he was in his mouth, near to me. So,
No, his mouth near to you, no problem. It's his tongue.
thank.
If he licks, then I have to wash that area.
Okay.
That's
If by his mouth.
It smells no problem.
Okay.
It sniffs no problem. Now.
When you're talking about this hunting, do you know when people go for hunting and shoot the birds and stuff, what would be the ruling when it comes to slaughtering?
Okay. Any animal that cannot be hunted or killed except by that tool, then it's halal to eat. Meaning, so for example, let's say I have a sheep. The sheep, what is the way to kill it? Nobody will bring a gun and shoot the sheep. It's not allowed, haram. To slaughter it. The camel, it's called the aql. Nobody will, for example, tell you to slaughter the camel. Because you can't, for example, tell the camel, please can you come down and slaughter you? It's impossible. You have to use the aql with a dagger, and then the blood comes and then he comes down and I slaughter it. Animals like birds. How are you going to slaughter the birds? Bringing them down and slaughter them. So you're going to shoot them either by the arrow, the time, or by the gun. So the bullet that has this speed and momentum to penetrate and cause the blood to come out, no problem. But if you have, for example, a tool by which this tool did not make the penetration, it killed it by, we call it the arb al-sahm. That means, let's say the arrow, you got a pointed end. But the arrow, it did not go like this to the prey, to the animal. It went like this and it hit it by the side of this. So the shock on the knock of that arrow killed that bird. The bird is haram to eat. Unless you caught it alive and then you slaughtered it. So فَمَا خَزَقَ penetrates is halal. If it not penetrated, is haram. Some of those animals which are to slaughter, they act like a beast. It happened at the time of the Prophet ﷺ. It's like a goat and he became wild. You know, some of the goats, like for example Australian goats, I know them, very well known. Australian goats, they are wild. So, nadda, what nadda means, run away from its owner. The owner had used an arrow and he killed it. He said, verily, some of those animals have the hearts of beasts. لها أوابد كأوابد الوحوش. It has beast hearts. Because the beast, wild animals. If it does happen, then this is the way to kill it. It wasn't slaughtering, it was what? An arrow or a gun, whatever. Okay, so this is the way to, so what we asked him about the bird, this is the way to kill the bird, is by shooting it or by an arrow, as long as it's kill it by, or by hunting dog, or hunting birds. You know hunting birds? You train a falcon or a vulture, whatever, you train it, it also as well hunts, and this is halal inshallah.
So do we still say say Bismillah Allahu Akbar or just shoot it or make
Okay, the difference between the name of the Allah and the slaughtering and the name of Allah. In your gun, okay, when you shoot, you say Bismillah. Now, you said Bismillah and you're pointing on a bird. Suddenly, you killed another bird. Maybe your gun is something wrong with it, or your eye is something wrong with it. Whatever the two. Crossed eyes, you killed another bird. Or, for example, you killed the bird, but as well your gun machine is powerful, you killed another 2-3 birds after it. Bunch of birds. Happens.
Yeah.
But you said Bismillah on that bird. So what happened to the birds? It's halal. You know why? Because the Bismillah is on the tool, in the gun. Got it? my Bismillah is what? On the gun. Regardless what it shoots. Whether it shot this animal or my gun was totally bent this way because another animal. It's halal because it's on the gun. Whereas on my knife, when I kill the sheep, the Bismillah is on the animal. So it's not on the knife. So I say Bismillah, I kill the sheep. I can't go to another sheep and I say nothing and kill it. Why? Because the Bismillah is on my knife. No. It's a Bismillah on the sheep. So I kill the sheep, Bismillah. I have to go on another sheep, Bismillah, another sheep, Bismillah, another camel, Bismillah. Okay? That's the difference between this and that. Now. Fadal.
About the leather, you said
the leather.
Yeah, is the pig's skin allowed if they're tanned?
There's a difference among the scholars regarding the pig and the dog. Two animals, pig and the dog. But the Prophet ﷺ, he said, أَيُّمَا إِهَابٍ دُبِغَ فَقَدْ طَهُرٍ. Any type of skin, it's been tanned, it's halal. And he did not distinguish. So we come to the Prophet ﷺ saying, it's generalized. If you want to make specification to pigs and dogs, bring me the proof. There is no specification. So if you tan it, it's no problem. Okay? And we are not allowed to hunt animals for the sake of their skin. We're not allowed to kill, for example, a lion for the sake of the skin. But if the lion is dead, I could use the skin. No problem. Tiger is dead, I could. But to kill the tiger for the sake of the skin is haram. Is that understood? It's not allowed. It's not benefit. No. Fadal, at the end.
You mentioned sprinkling to clean. How many times? Is there any time?
Sprinkling water doesn't matter how many times. Sprinkling water is a good thing as well, not just for the sake of those unweaned male baby, or for example the sake of the women who had menses blood and she washed their clothes and she sprinkles this one in her pants, but also for those who are making wudu, to kill the waswasa. So every time you make wudu, sprinkle your water into your pants. Why? That for those people who feel there's a drop coming out, and there's no drop, because the Prophet said, don't leave the prayer until you're sure, until you hear a noise or something comes out. You know there's something coming out, but you felt something coming out, don't go out of the prayer. Now if you felt like a drop, don't go out. You're not going to be able to check the drop. You know why? Because your pants are wet already. That's to kill the waswasa. That's all it is, to kill the waswasa. When shaitan comes to you, he wants you to stop your prayer in any way. So this is to kill the waswasa. Alhamdulillah. That's how. So sprinkle the water and that's it. I don't have to wash my pants. Sprinkle the water. How many times, it doesn't matter. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. And this is
that's a question somebody
for the sisters.
Maybe.
So, can you enter the masjid at time of Can you enter, it's a sister's question I think, enter the masjid at time of menses? This is a difference among the scholars. Is the menstruation woman, is she becomes herself impure, she's not allowed to come to the masjid or not? A difference among the scholars. And the correct opinion of Allah Ta'ala, she is allowed to come. We can't deprive her from coming and listen to the classes. She cannot pray. The Prophet ﷺ, one of his wives, he asked her to go and bring his prayer mat from inside the masjid. She said, Messenger of Allah, I am on my menses. He said, your menses is not in your hand. This hadith has been interpreted in two ways. Either it's not in your hand, that means you have no power to stop it from Allah. Or not in your hands, that means the menses comes from, from your private part, doesn't come into your hand. So you go and get the prayer mat from the masjid. That's number one. Number two, those who had said that it is not allowed for a menses or menstruating women to come to the masjid, the only proof they come up with, they can't come up with the ayah. Hadith, the only proof, which is the hadith from Prophet ﷺ, is reinterpreted or interpreted in a way which says it is not allowed. Which is that the Prophet of Allah, he said, hadith al-Ma'atiyah, he commanded he said, Amara Rasulullah al-Nukhrij, on the Eid day, to bring out al-Awatiq, the free women, wal-Huyyad, the menstruating women, wal-Dawat al-Khudur, wal-Mukhabba, the hidden women, the ones who don't come, screened women, never came out, to bring them out. Yashhadna da'wat al-Khayr, that is to come and see the gathering of the Muslims in Eid al-Adha. قال ويعتزلن الحيض المصلى. Whereas the Huyyad, the menstruating women, they will avoid the Musalla. Musalla means the praying area. Now, the Prophet of Allah ﷺ, where did he make this prayer of the Eid? Inside the masjid or outside? Outside. Now, when we say يعتزلن الحيض المصلى, is it salah or musalla? Doesn't mean, because interpretation, it could be the musalla means the area, or it could be the salah itself. Where is the area of the musalla? It is undefined. It depends upon how many people turns up. So let's say, for example, we expected that, for example, the people to come inside this field, playground, football playground. Women stay outside the goal kick, the goal sort of thing, outside, and then it's okay. But the people came more, and they played outside this pitch. So we're going to say, women, go out from this area. It doesn't mean that. It means, as a narration of the hadith says, let them avoid the what? The prayer, not the prayer musalla. So this is the only proof that Shaykh Ibn Uthaymeen rahimahullah brings, which is that you could say the most strongest one. So we say that women are allowed, and Shaykh al-Albani rahimahullah says some of the scholars with their fatwa needs to be updated. Some of the scholars, for example, they say the women, they're not allowed to come into the haram when they are menstruating, and they should stay in the Safa wal Marwa, the Mas'a. Safa and Marwa. Shaykh al-Albani says, verily this fatwa needs to be updated. If it is according to them, what they think is not allowed for a menstruating to come into the haram. Now the Safa and Marwa at this time is part of the masjid. She should not be there as well. You understand me? So Safa and Marwa becomes, even Safa and Marwa now, miles after Safa and Marwa has become from Masjid al-Haram. All of it has been expanded. So we say, Wallahu ta'ala, she's allowed to come. What is not allowed to do is not to pray. She's allowed to say her adhkar. She's allowed to read Qur'an. And even touching the Qur'an she needs, she's allowed to do that. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. And let's just call it a night because we have exceeded the time.
Last question, Shaykh, to do with al-Hijjah. Very important.
Do you allow him? It's just very important according to him as he says.
According to us, it's to us actually. We've tried many sort of ways regarding the Udhiyah. I'm talking about myself personally, to try and go to the slaughterhouse, do slaughtering. You're not allowed because you have to be licensed. To witness it, 9 out of 10 they don't allow you because for safety, health and safety reasons. And also if you try and slaughter your animal or go to slaughterhouse, you don't come back to your house until almost Maghrib time. So you don't enjoy the Eid with your family. And that's what makes us go to the butchers in this country.
Yeah. Right, the brother just summarized what he said, that regarding the Udhiyah, what sort of options are available for us. I'll say to the brothers, you do your homework very well, and inshallah you do your Udhiyah like myself. I've done it for now 10 years on the trot in this country where I slaughtered myself, the Udhiyah. It takes me about 4 or 5 hours, 6 hours, maximum 7 hours as well. I bring my children with me to witness as well, to see that Udhiyah, to live that sort of moment, even though some of them, they go, it's cold, how can I see it? My girls want me to see it. There is abattoirs would allow you. In Birmingham there is, and they will allow you to see it. There is farms as well. They do it hush hush. Hush hush. Nobody knows about it. Okay, there is that, and there is as well Pakistani where they allow you to to do the slaughtering themselves. If you didn't have those old options, you've done your best. Then your best option, then I would say to you, to go to the butcher and ask him for the meat, or to send your money to whatever country. For example, your families in Algeria or Jazair or Pakistan or whatever, they will do it on your behalf in that country. It's no problem. So that's the last. Make it the last option as a last resort. Don't go for it because it's easy for you. Okay, you need to, even if you're in Maghrib, which is not the case, never been happening during the Maghrib, but even if you spend 6, 7, 5 hours, it's worth it because you need to make an udhiyah, sacrificial. And that sacrifice, that if you think about it, it did not come easy to Ibrahim alayhi salam. Which is more sort of agonizing, you staying until Maghrib, or you being commanded to slaughter your own son? Which is more agonizing? We're doing the slaughtering because of Ibrahim alayhi salam, and he was about to slaughter his own son. Now, what is his feelings and what is his son's feelings? Even they're fulfilling the commands of Allah, they're a human being. And that's why he put him on his face, so he can't see the reaction of his own son. He wants to slaughter him because of the command of Allah. Ismail said, go ahead. But he's a human being. Ibrahim's going ahead. And I think it's more torturing to Ibrahim more than Ismail. He put him in and he wanted to slaughter him. And Allah said, صدقت الرؤيا خلاص. And صدقت الرؤيا. You have fulfilled. So if it's so much sort of agonizing Ibrahim alayhi salam, at least 5, 6 hours, 7 hours. If you remember Ibrahim's story, I think you will be relaxed. Alhamdulillah. What I'm doing is not really that much. والله تعالى أعلم وسبحانك الله بحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.